Hey guys, today we're going to learn why Australians love this brown yeast paste known as Vegemite. Vegemite is an Australian food spread that is found in 9 out of 10 Australian pantries, and it's commonly spread on toast, and from what I can see, it's kind of equivalent to peanut butter or jelly in America, but its taste is definitely very different from that. You see, this stuff is made from brewer's yeast, left over in the beer making process, along with other vegetable extracts and a hint of salt, which doesn't sound extremely appetizing, especially on toast. So here I'm going to spread a little bit of Vegemite on some toast, and if you try it, doesn't taste very good at all. First of all, this stuff is quite bitter, and also is very, very salty. It also has a hint of umami, which is that meaty sort of savory flavor that we get in steak. So while umami sounds something that'd be really good in Chinese food, I'm not sure how I feel about savory toast. But is it just me who feels this way about Vegemite? Well, let's go to Australia and ask some people.
Tastes like bitter seaweed.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I'm an Australian. I like it.
Oh no.
Not gonna buy it. When you eat Vegemite, you need a lot of butter.
You have to have a butter to Vegemite ratio. Being more butter than Vegemite.
Well, it's too salty.
Is it?
I mean, my attitude's salty enough. I don't need any more of this in my diet.
Мен пони так слабо.
I prefer Nutella. A negative surprise when you taste it.
You either love it or you hate it. I love it, I guess.
So for the most part, we saw that Australians loved Vegemite, whereas Americans and most other nationalities absolutely hated it. However, there was one major exception, and that was British people. You see, British people are already accustomed to the taste of yeast paste, as they already have a version of Vegemite known as Marmite back home.
Well, I like it because it tastes like Marmite.
So besides that one little exception, it's pretty safe to say that Australians are the only ones who like Vegemite. And with just 1 out of 30 jars of Vegemite being exported out of Australia, it's pretty safe to say this. Vegemite first came to be in the early 1920s, but it wasn't until World War II, when it was rationed to soldiers, that it really became a household item. And now, thanks to decades of advertisements, Vegemite is everywhere in Australia. It's got whole racks on supermarkets devoted to it, it's got its own cookbook, and it's even got its own song. So culturally, Vegemite has been around for decades. Adults have been surrounded by Vegemite and its advertisements for their entire lives. So obviously, culture is a huge reason why Australians love Vegemite. But is it possible that Australians could have been exposed to Vegemite even before we're born? Here on the phone, I have Dr. Alison Ventura, who has done research on how a mom's diet can actually affect a baby's food preferences. So of course, like, cultural factors have, probably the biggest effect on what a baby eats. But do you think that your research when it comes to how, a mother's diet can affect the amniotic fluid, do you think that has, a big enough impact and make a significant reason why Australians really like Vegemite?
No single factor, right? So it's complex when you think about how things like eating behaviors and food preferences develop. And so I wouldn't say that a mother's diet during pregnancy is separate from the culture that the baby's born into, but more it's part and a kind of way that the baby learns about the culture that it eventually, will develop in. That's kind of the baby's first chance to learn what the foods that it will eventually encounter will be. And so it's just kind of a form of transmission of cultural learning.
So really what we learned is the reason why Australians love Vegemite is not just because, their mothers ate it before they were born and had a little taste of it, but it's a culmination of tons and tons of factors. But between, kids eating it as they're growing up, mothers eating it before they're even born, and just all sorts of cultural factors and advertisements being all around it, it's pretty easy to see why Australians love Vegemite, even if it seems so foreign and disgusting to us. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, such as I enjoyed creating this video, then please leave a like or subscribe. I don't think I'm ever gonna like this stuff. Thanks. And wash that down with some Mountain Dew.